Welcome back, everybody, to the Moonjuice Horror and Metal Podcast, the podcast where we live and breathe heavy metal and horror, but aren't afraid to shit all over both of them. I'm Matt.
Yep, exactly.
I almost fucked it up, dude.
Mm.
I almost fucked it up.
You almost fucked it
I
up.
almost said like I stumbled over a word or two. I was like, I didn't fuck it up though. So
Hell,
we're
I
good.
fucked it up
We're,
like
we're
four
pretty
times on
big
the
now
last
about
episode.
not fucking it up when we're filming, which is great.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
all right. So what movie are we doing today, Mike?
Today we're doing Wrong Turn. Wrong Turn, a movie that somehow was not really a very big success, but every horror fan knows it, no? And
Well, I
yeah.
mean, it depends on what you term success, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they made a shit ton more money than other movies that did the same thing, but the budget was 12.6 million and they got 28.7 million worldwide. So, yeah, probably a flop, but it
Mm.
made at least its money back.
Exactly. Well,
I saw,
yeah, I would not
huh?
necessarily call it. It made its money back, but they did not really earn much money off of it. Yeah.
No, I'd love to know how it's doing now, though. You know what I mean? Like, because with this stuff, you get initial box office, and then you can like go to DVD sales if you want to, which this is 2003, so at the time DVDs were a big thing,
Yeah.
and then kind of see what they made at the end. But I mean, judging by the initial box office, it probably didn't do all that well,
Hmm.
which is a fucking shame because I like this movie.
I do. I do. Me too. No, I
It's a
mean,
fucking
I
great
saw it.
movie.
I saw it back in the day when it came out in the movies. I was just
Yeah.
like I said in the last episode. I was there with my sisters and my brother-in-laws. No, I think it could also be that my mom was also there with us.
This was a movie I saw in the theaters too, dude, because it looked interesting. And like I think what drew me to it is that it had a Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe. Same for
Yeah,
you?
yeah. Wow. What? It does. Of course, it clearly has a Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe, but yeah, that was not the reason that drew me to it. I mean, because at the time I was like in my early 20s, and Elijah Dusky was in this movie, and I was like a horny early 20-year-old, and she was probably she was the reason why I went to watch this movie. I'm going to be honest. No, Elijah
Oh,
Dusky's in it. I'm watching it.
it was just for the girl then. Okay. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
went because
Mm-hmm.
2003 like there was not a whole bunch of good horror movies. Like there just weren't. So when you saw the preview for a film that looked like it was actually going to be good, you went. So this I saw this in the theaters too.
That's
Um
true. That is true.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like going back to what it made, I don't really understand because the movie was great.
It is. Even back when it came out, I watched it and I was like, "Oh, really?" Both me and my sister, my younger sister, we all liked the movie. That was actually great. It was actually like my brother-in-laws, they weren't really much fans of it because they're not really that big horror fans. And my older
Yeah.
sister, no, she can't watch horror movies. She was so traumatized by Wrong Turn that she has
You told me
afraid to
last
go into the
podcast.
woods
Yeah.
alone till today because of this movie. Yeah,
Okay.
but me and my younger sister, we loved it. We thought it was we loved it both. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like what was the last film before this one in memory, right? What's the last film before this one that did this kind of thing? Like with hillbilly rednecks, mutated hillbilly rednecks or just hillbilly rednecks.
With
Besides
hillbilly
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
with hillbilly rednecks. Yeah, the only thing I can remember is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I'm not sure if the remake came out later. It came after this, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, right?
Yeah, it came out after this, but I,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so obviously, it's almost like Texas Chainsaw Massacre worship this movie, but it's also got a little bit of deliverance in it. Old Burt Reynolds flick, dude. You might I think you're only like 4 years younger than me, but I remember when that movie came out. Deliverance was a messed up film about hillbillies that steal people from the woods and
Yeah.
torture them. So this had a little bit of
Yeah.
that vibe to it, but that's two great movies, right? That they kind of slung into one, and for me, it works out great.
It
I,
does.
I
It
love that.
does for
Yeah.
me too. Yeah. 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 It's a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So we already said it made 28.7 at the 28.7 million at the worldwide box office. Budget was 12.6. The reception of the film, it got mixed reviews from critics, with a lot of people using the phrase generic slasher, which I don't get because there's nothing generic about this, right? But that was the put down they had for the
Yeah.
movie.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, if it was people or if it was critics, because how
That's
should I
critics.
say it? When it comes to movies and video games, I don't trust critics much
Yeah.
because
No, I'm
they
with
don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
you. It says this one kind of got a cult following by most horror fans, which I can see that because it
Yeah.
was a good movie.
I mean, the thing is,
It has
how
some really seriously
generic could the
good
movie
brutal
have
kills in
been?
it.
It is. There are fucking brutal kills in it. And the thing is, how generic
Yeah.
slasher could it have been if it literally spawned 6 sequels? I mean, that were all
Right.
fucking bad, by the way. But
Right.
uh, the second one was, yeah, okay, nah,
See the second one. I didn't see the second one because I figured it was a cash grab.
yeah, it was. How should I say it? It's different, no. Um, I mean, there's a lot more that comes out in the sequels to these inbreeded rednecks. No, there are certain
Yeah.
stuff also that happens in the movies that hints towards that they're also not normal humans. They have a certain superhuman abilities. No,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
hinted in the movie. The sequels actually go further into that, why that's happening, because they're mutants or whatever. No, I haven't seen all Wrong Turn movies. I think I've saw 3 of them. I think it might be 2, maybe 3, and I think Wrong Turn 6. But I'm not sure.
Jesus
I've seen
Christ.
like 3 or 4 of them. No?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen any of the sequels. None of them. I've only seen this movie. So I'm gonna for like judging and critiquing this movie, I'm gonna go off what I know from this movie instead of the extra ones. But
Yeah, of course.
now I'm gonna have to go read into the sequels because I didn't. That's cool actually. The fact that they kind of gave him a supernatural twist, even though you're right, there are hints to that in this movie that they are, supernatural in some way or another.
Yeah.
All brutal kills, like I said, all practical effects.
Yeah. The most, yeah. Yeah. As
All
far as I
practical
can
effects.
tell, yeah, they're all
Yeah.
practical effects, yeah.
I mean, I looked it up because there's one kill that I was curious if it was a practical effect or not, so I looked it up. And that's the other girl's death, the one that gets it in the tree. Because I thought maybe they used CGI to do that, but no, that was a complete practical effect. So yeah, sequels and a 2021 reboot.
I haven't seen the reboot. I've heard it came out, but I haven't seen it yet.
Mike, don't go see it. Don't rent it. Don't bother. Act like it doesn't exist because it has literally nothing to do with this film.
Oh,
The
really?
story's not the same. The
Yeah.
bad guys are completely different type of characters. It has nothing to do with it. As a matter of fact, I think the reboot was done with the name just to garner
Yeah.
attention to it. Yeah, just to sell it. But it
Yeah,
has
that
literally
sucks.
nothing to do with this film.
That sucks.
Which
And there's no point in doing a remake. No.
no, no, it wasn't a remake. Like there's nothing about the remake that is actually a remake.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah, yeah,
And I remember when it came out and I saw it, everybody else was saying the same things. Like, why does this have the name Wrong Turn and Remake? Because it has nothing to do with it. But we'll get to that later. Maybe we'll watch that one and do it on a later podcast just to kind of show you how fucking stupid that was. Um,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll do the sequels also on further episodes. I mean, there are
I mean,
6.
like,
There.
like
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we can kind of pick and choose because if we just did this horror podcast with all of the material we have and movies to do, we'd be doing this when we're 120, and I don't plan on living past 95.
Yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, God damn it, we could do like we would have if we would only do movies referring to Romero, we could do like movies for years.
Hmm.
I mean, it's for years. I mean, God damn it. I mean, I looked into it a little bit. It's just mind-boggling to me that, like literally the majority of the zombie movies that came out 70s, 80s, and 90s are technically all unofficial sequels to Night of the Living Dead. That's crazy.
There's a lot of people that don't know that, man. There's a lot of horror fans that don't know.
Hmm?
I mean, basically, Romero is the of the dead guy. Almost everything that's come out
Yeah.
that has zombies, with the exception of the series that we can't stand, The Walking Dead. with the exception of probably The Walking Dead and everything past that, he had nothing to do with. But
Yeah, well,
everything before
I
that,
wouldn't say
unofficial sequel.
I never said that I couldn't stand The Walking Dead. I liked it pretty much up till season 6. But after season
Ah,
6,
okay. Well, that was me that said they hated it.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I think it's
I
trash.
think one of the main reasons why The Walking Dead was so insanely popular. I mean, we have to say it. The Walking Dead was actually the first zombie show. It was the first one that done the zombie in a series as a series.
Yeah,
Other than that, you
yeah,
had like movies here and there, no? And to be honest, it was one of the first zombie shows that actually focused on character development to a very strong degree. And that was also, I think, what made it interesting to a lot of people, to me as well. But after season 6, when Negan comes in and kills Glenn, it's just like there are multiple episodes where you barely even see a fucking zombie, and it's like
yeah, yeah.
at this point,
I
it's
know.
like, yes, I like the fact that they focus strongly on characters, instead of just purely zombie gore shit. That was actually kind of fresh back in the day, no?
Yeah,
But later on, it was basically only these different factions of people, basically these conflicts they're having. It's like, God, this is fucking boring. I could watch a soap opera at this point, you know? And
yeah,
that was for
yeah.
me I just tuned out. I literally tuned out because I just lost interest in it. No.
You made it further than me. I made it to like season two and was bored shitless of season two. So
Yeah.
I didn't watch anything past that. And then all the hate that came out of the first Negan scene, of course, like on the
For,
internet and in them. Yeah,
oh
when
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he kills two of the main characters, right? So everybody was furious about that, and that killed viewership by quite a bit. Just killing those two characters. This was really
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
spirited too.
maybe.
Like I saw the scene and I'm like, did they really have to do that? Holy shit, that's
Yeah,
brutal as fuck, man.
yeah. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Yeah,
Well, the thing is, but even if you go back to the original comics, that The Walking Dead is off. Negan is the character you're supposed to hate. I mean, you are literally supposed to hate him, and even in the comics, he killed multiple of the main characters, multiple. And
yeah,
even
yeah. I
if
mean, it's
you
not
if you
anything anybody
look
wasn't
into
expecting, but
yeah, of course. But if you look into the comics, what they did in the TV show is, I would say, much more tamer than it was in the comics.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
noticed that. I saw the
yeah,
comics. Yeah,
Be-
but I mean, they had to because I
yeah.
think I can't remember who put out The Walking Dead. But it was cable, but it was not like a cable channel like HBO or Cinemax where you could
AMC.
get away with anything. Like you had to
It was
be
it was
AMC,
well,
American Movie Channel, right?
it was it was AMC. And fun fact, did you know that The Walking Dead, the creator is the same guy who created Invincible?
I did not know that.
Same
Hmm.
creator. The guy that
Okay.
created the Walking Dead comics also created Invincible.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and
That's
something also,
crazy.
another fun fact you also might not know, no,
Okay.
that Spawn and Invincible are in the same universe.
Really? I did not know that. I didn't
Yep.
know that. Holy shit.
I
I
I,
consider
I just
myself a comic
recently
book
found
fan
that
too, and I
out.
did not know that. Holy shit.
What? Yeah, I just recently found that out because Invincible also has the multiverse stuff going on, no? And Invincible also, if you watch the show, no, has a certain supernatural aspect with hell hinted towards
Right.
it
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
on, no? And that
Yeah.
entire thing of the Invincible universe is Spawn. Even in the comics, there's a specific storyline in the comics that is done in the third season. In the comics, Spawn
Okay.
actually shows up fighting one of the Invincible variants, defeating him.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. I did not
Yeah.
know that, dude. That's okay. I'll check it out then. I
Yeah.
was a huge Spawn fan.
Oh,
Like when Todd McFarlane left Marvel and started doing that, I was in since day one. I absolutely fucking love Todd McFarlane, and this is also one of the first times we get to see kind of his twisted mind. The whole Spawn universe was created by Todd McFarlane too, so
yeah, yeah.
like you get his artwork plus his twisted sense of humor and everything else. I love the book series. I have every one of them. I even have, I think it's part 4 with Cerebus with the Image Zero coupon in it. I got all that shit.
Yeah,
Love
I mean the Spawn comics. I collected and read them for a very very long time. No, But also
Yeah.
I think I stopped around, I don't know when you stopped reading them. I stopped reading them around the time 2007 or 2008 was when I stopped reading them. But what I also didn't know that the original Spawn comic series was never canceled and it's still ongoing. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
I just
How's
I
that
would
work?
huh?
How does that work?
The story never ended. I mean, it's crazy. I also was baffled because I thought eventually they probably would have canceled it and done a kind of reboot or whatever. But no, the Spawn series never stopped. It kept on going. No,
I did not
um,
know that. I thought it was long
I
done.
know at the point I stopped in the
Okay.
point where Spawn goes to hell trying to because he became a devil because he killed Malabolgia. He's betrayed by Cagliostro, and Cagliostro takes over hell as the devil and sends Spawn back as a human to Earth. No, that's
Okay.
that's
I
basically around that time I stopped. However, what I did not know, I mean, at that point the story kept going on. Even to the point Al Simmons is no longer the Spawn, because at one point Al Simmons gets killed, but Spawn's suit survives.
okay.
And somehow another guy that gets killed in a hospital, no, because burns down, Spawn's suit combines with him and he becomes the new Spawn. And that's how it's been being continued.
Okay. Okay. That's fucking weird. I know I quit reading Spawn when Todd McFarlane quit doing the artwork because
Oh,
Todd McFarlane, I'm not sure how far he went, and I can't remember what year it was that I quit reading, but I noticed that he was now no longer the artist, and who they had in his place was a guy who tries to draw like Todd McFarlane does.
Greg Capullo.
Yeah, and not a fan, dude. It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
feels like a ripoff of Todd McFarlane's artwork. But to
Yeah.
be fair, Todd McFarlane had a bunch of shit going on, dude. Like that guy had his own like gory toy series that
Yeah.
was great, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I collected a few of them and had them up on the wall because they're cool as shit. Like highly detailed, brilliant looking stuff. And then I want to say I don't think the two have anything to do with each other, but NECA Toys also did the same thing. But I think NECA like was kind of an offshoot of Todd McFarlane Toys.
Yeah.
Has to be because
What?
they are very similar in detail. But that's probably why he quit doing the comics. He had a bunch of other shit going on.
Probably, but I know, but he was still involved in the comics, no? And I know Greg Capullo was
Yeah, of
drawing the
course, it's
comics
his
for a
story.
while.
Yeah,
What? And then he
it's
stopped.
his
Greg
story.
Capullo also stopped, and then Tony Daniel overtook. And I like Tony Daniel. I don't know if you know him, no?
No.
But I liked him because he also done a comic series, The 10th, for Image Comics, no?
Okay. Yeah.
And the 10th is basically Image version of the Hulk, you know? I've already told you about the comics, no?
But wait a minute. Uh, you mean Pit? Dale Keown's. So Pit is what it was
No,
called.
no,
And
the 10th. The
the
comic
10th.
series
I've never
from
heard of it.
Tony Daniels, not the Pit, no? I
Okay,
mean, you
because Pit was drawn by Dale Keown, the original artist who did the Hulk, and it felt like the Hulk Pit. But
no, no,
it's a
no, not the
totally
Pit,
different
not the
story.
Pit. I'm
We can
talking about
talk
the
about that.
they're totally different. The 10th is well, it does you can say there are similarities to Hulk. If you say everybody who reads the 10th and say there's not similarities to Hulk is like, well, Hulk is kind of dark purple, no, and he's like this big you could say he's looks like a mix between Hulk and Venom. No?
Okay.
And his entire character is basically he was genetically alterated to the point where his red blood cells basically just destroy. They die. They kill. They eat each other up. No. And once
Okay.
his red blood cells fall under a certain level, that'll trigger his transformation into the 10th. And then he'll become this rage big monster and has to drink human blood to sustain his human form. And that's the
Okay.
reason why there's no way to kill him, because if he loses too much blood, or he doesn't drink blood regularly, he'll turn into this extreme monstrous thing. I mean, of course, it's kind of the 10th. You just have his transformation triggered over blood instead of anger, no? But other than that fact, a really well written story. The artwork in it is fantastic, and it's a little bit. I could say eerie and a little bit fucked up. Totally. I mean, the comic series ends with very very dark mad. I mean, literally everybody dies.
Okay,
Huh?
I take it already then. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's, but
I'll
it's
look it up.
and
So
it's
we're
extreme.
gonna have
It's
to talk
extreme.
about the film now. What?
Oh, yeah, yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we're gonna have to talk about the film now. Otherwise, we're gonna have to change the name of the podcast to the Moonjuice Metal Horror Comic uh
Yeah. Yeah, god
podcast.
damn it. We
But
how the fuck did we
that's
get
the
into
thing, though.
comics? Huh?
It's actually it actually kind of fits because I don't. Uh, if I think about metalheads and I think about horror fanatics, they're comic book nerds too. All of them, almost
Yeah.
all of them.
That's true.
Almost all of them, because that, like, what a lot of people don't understand is if you weren't getting your horror from movies or you weren't getting like enough like dark matter subject stuff from anywhere else, comics was the next best place because unlike film and metal, you can get away with fucking anything in comic books. Anything. Nothing is off limits. They like it is over the top. Even the original Spawn, like there's a whole bunch of stuff there that was extremely gory and over the top. So yeah, I would probably even venture to say Spawn was a little bit of a horror comic series. Like it didn't
It
feel
was.
it had a
It was.
superhero element to it, but it was definitely horror. So it fits.
Yeah, it
It
was
fits.
definitely.
It
Yeah.
fits to the podcast.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so wrong turn, right? Characters that are introduced in the first scene. Guess what? It doesn't matter who the characters are because they both die within the first
yeah.
3 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we get this rock climbing couple. That's they don't really tell you where this is, but it's obvious that it's somewhere way deep in the country, right? So they're climbing the mountainside.
Mm.
Him and his girlfriend, wife, whatever. And they're kind of getting up there. He gets to the top before her. She's kind of hanging by her rope, and he's like making jokes at her. She falls, right? Not long, but she falls just enough to like catch herself. But it's a pretty fucking long fall.
Yeah.
Um, and she kind of like bangs herself up. This kid's a fucking asshole, by the way. He's a total dick because he's at the top laughing at her. He just took a fall that was like probably a good 200 meters, and he's laughing at her. And she's like, "Can you lift up my rope and get me up to the top?" He doesn't answer. She calls again. He doesn't answer. And then she hears, I don't know if she hears it, but she sees him fall over, like above her on the ground, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's not moving. And she's calling to him, and he's not moving. And then you see from the top of his head to here get dragged away over the side of the cliff. So now she realizes somebody else is up there, and her husband, boyfriend's been killed. Um, they grab her rope, whoever's up there, unforeseen force or whatever. They grab her rope and start pulling it up because
Yeah.
they want to kill her. So they're pulling
Yeah.
it. She gets wise to this real quick and is like, fuck, they're gonna kill me. So she cuts her own rope and grabs onto the side of the hill, right? So she's holding on to the rock for her dear life, and then she sees his rope to her left, and she thinks if she can hand herself over to his rope, she can get down.
Yeah. Yeah.
She tries that, ultimately ends off falling off the mountain and then landing, which I don't know how you felt about this part, but I kind of felt like she should be dead from that fall.
Obviously. I mean, yeah, from that part is like, well, yeah, she should have been dead, but at this point it's plot armor. No?
Yeah,
That's all.
I
The
don't
reason
know.
why she survived is plot armor. But you can say that about
I
multiple
get
scenes
it.
in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but it didn't seem realistic whatsoever. It's kind of
Yeah,
like,
I don't yeah, that's true, but it's also one of the things I never go into movies expecting things to be realistic.
I do.
Specifically if it's horror, fantasy or science fiction, I don't necessarily expect things to be realistic.
Right, but like there's certain things that I think we can come to expect are going to be far-fetched because a lot of horror is supernatural stuff, and if it's not, it's serial killer stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And some things are going to happen that don't make sense. But like, at least if you're going to establish that physics doesn't work the way it does in real life, then kind of continue that throughout the movie.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't at all. Uh, okay. So she falls to the ground. She's still alive.
And she
tries to
starts
get
running.
away,
Yeah.
and I think she trips over a tripwire, right?
Yeah. Over a tripwire, she falls on the floor, and then you see her being pulled, dragged away.
Dragged away.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then the opening credits start.
So, this is one of those movies where they use the opening credits to kind of explain what's going on without
Yeah.
having to explain it in the movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we get this exact same thing used again in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot that happens. They use the opening credits to kind of explain the story. So, what do we learn from the opening credit scene about these people?
Yeah, that they're mutated freaks. That's what you can do. You see like multiple scenes where I think there a few inbreed, no? I think it's mentioned on it, no? And that they're deformed through genetic mutations that obviously are a reason because of the inbreeding. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, we get
Yeah, that's
our
pretty.
introduction to who these
Yeah.
guys are. So that's all explained before the movie even really starts. What they don't really explain in there, and what we'll see kind of later towards the end of the film, is that these guys are also a little bit supernatural, kind of like what we talked about earlier. But
Yeah.
they don't say that, and you kind of
No.
have to get it for yourself. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
only supernatural due to the fact that they have a certain healing factor. And for people that don't know, that healing factor is used in fiction and in fantasy,
Do
fiction,
you
horror to
honestly
explain
believe
if
that we have
somebody
anybody
heals
watching this
fast.
podcast who doesn't know who Wolverine is?
Probably not. Yeah, but yeah.
No, no. I
But
guarantee
but
everybody knows who
when I
Wolverine is.
talk
And
to
if they
people and
don't
I
know who
say,
Wolverine is, then they know Deadpool,
yeah,
right?
I know, but when I say we're talking about movies with people and I say healing factor, like what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like,
Yeah, okay, okay, okay. Yeah,
I mean,
Marvel introduced the healing
I
factor.
mean, it happens to me all the time. Even people in the metal scene, Matt. When I'm talking about horror movies, and I'd say like, yeah, he has a healing factor. No, it's like, what do you mean? What does healing factor mean? And I'm sitting there like, honestly,
Who are these
for
fucking
me,
posters you talk to, Mike?
what? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we got our opening credit scene. They kind of explain with pictures and news clippings what these guys are and what they look like, and the fact that they're mutants and fucked up.
Yeah.
So we get that. Um, we get our first character introduced, which is Chris Flynn, played by Desmond Harrington, who um, also plays in Dexter, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
this is before Dexter, almost 5 years before he was in Dexter. And his character is not much different. He's kind of a arrogant prick, but that's okay. Um,
I would actually arrogant. I don't know. I mean,
let's say he kind of looks like he is. How about that?
he does, but I mean, I think the way he acts, I see a lot of myself in that guy because a lot of statements he makes, it was like, yeah, that's probably the same fucking thing I would at least have that thought in my
Yeah,
head, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty much your typical, like, if this guy had had a longer run, at least his character in movies, you'd probably like this guy about as much as you like Ash, because it's the same kind of thing. It's like an unassuming hero who doesn't really want to be the hero. He's kind of a macho guy, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
no,
would
I
have liked
wouldn't
to
say
see this guy
that.
in another movie.
I wouldn't
Mm.
really compare
The
him with
character's
Ash.
cool.
I don't see much
No, no,
parallels with
no.
him and
I wouldn't
Ash.
either. I'm saying if he kept getting beat on like Ash does, he'd probably turn out just like Ash.
Probably, yeah, probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this guy is driving through West Virginia and he's headed to Raleigh, North Carolina for an interview, right?
For a job
He
interview,
gets
yeah.
yeah, he gets stuck in traffic, which he's got a cool car. It's like an old school Mustang. He's driving along the highway and he gets stuck behind this whole line of trucks and other cars and shit. And he realizes that it's not going anywhere, so he gets out and walks to the truck that's in front of him to kind of ask what's going on. And this fucking truck driver is obviously on meth, dude. He's on some kind of drug because he looks shocked as shit that this guy came
Yeah,
up
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Oh, what the fuck do you want? Like, dude, I'm here for the same reasons you're here. You're stuck in fucking traffic. I want to know what's going on. And so he asked the guy, and the guy's like, truck driver's like, oh, there's a big accident up ahead. There's shit all over the road. Um, Chris asks, how long do you think it's going to take to clean up? As if this guy has any fucking idea how long it's going to take to clean this up. Um, and The truck driver's like, probably a couple hours. And Chris is like, yeah, okay. And then he's like, hey, I got an idea. Here's what you need to do. You need to get back in your car, fix your hair a couple hundred more times. And he's making fun of him, dude. And Chris is like, yeah, fuck you. And walks back to
It
his
just
car.
leaves, yeah.
Yeah, just leaves. I
Yeah,
love
but
that
that's also
scene
kind of
because
like,
this
it's
is kind of
also
like your blue collar worker versus your pretty boy kind of thing.
yeah. But I thought, yeah, dude. But I think it's kind of weird because I didn't really have the impression that he was kind of like a pretty boy type. He just seemed to me like a normal dude.
Maybe we're just all fucking ugly in the army, dude. I don't know. Not like that. If a guy like that comes along in the army, you're like, fucking pretty boy, he's scared to get his hands dirty. Like that's what kind of what he looks like. You know what I mean? I mean, look at the guy. He's wearing a button-down blue
Yeah,
shirt,
yeah.
a nice pair of pants. Like he's not dressed like one of us. About that.
Ah, okay, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But I'm also not an army guy, man.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah,
Um, so he fucking gas station scene, dude. This fucking gas station scene. So here's what I want to know, Mike. He drives to this gas station, which, first of all, this thing barely looks like a gas station. Like, this thing is run the fuck down. This thing looks like it should be a kind of like a haunted house setup, is what this fucking gas station looks like. Doesn't look like there'd be anybody there. He drives up and he meets this guy. I don't know where the fuck they got this actor from, but goddamn, is he good at his job, dude.
yeah. He only has like two teeth. No, has no fucking idea about anything, and
Yeah.
is and
Oh, I absolutely
he
love the
asks him
character.
basically,
He's
"Do
like,
you have a
he
phone?" He
walks
says,
up and this dude is like,
"Yeah,
he's like, "Do you have a phone?" But here's the thing that I love about him. I don't think he's an actor. I think they found him in West Virginia in the woods somewhere and were like, "Dude, if you sit outside and drink this thing of milk that we're gonna give you," which to quote Ron Burgundy, milk was a bad choice, right?
yeah, yeah,
Milk was a bad choice. He's sitting there fucking drinking this milk, and it's disgusting because you
yeah,
know it's fucking hot as shit outside, dude.
yeah,"
It's probably like a good
and
35 degrees
he's
Celsius,
drinking this stuff.
maybe 92 degrees
Yeah, yeah,
Fahrenheit.
yeah. But
And
the stuff
drinking
he's
milk in
drinking,
the
I
heat.
think it's not milk. I think I don't know. I think it's that this. I remember it as a kid. This pink stuff that you take if you have like heartburn.
Ah,
It's
you
some.
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, I think that's what he was drinking. But
That's
Matt,
initially
no,
what I thought
I
too,
could
but it's not the right bottle.
I can tell you this guy is an actor because I'm going to tell you something now. Why you're probably going to want to watch Wrong Turn 2. He's also in Wrong Turn 2.
Shit. Okay, okay. Now I'll watch Wrong Turn too.
because
Anyway,
because
this
I
guy is
mean,
fucking great, dude. He's great.
I'll tell you, I have a few things I can say about him towards the end of the episode, but no?
Okay. Okay. So this guy looks like he's from this region from somewhere deep in the woods. He's got like one tooth in his mouth. His clothes are completely fucked up. His
Yeah,
skin
yeah.
is like destroyed from being in the sun, and you can barely understand a fucking word he says. He's like, "You got a phone?" Guy's like, "I got one over there on the wall." Yeah. So he goes and tries to use the phone. Phone doesn't work. Like it has obviously not been working for a while, this piece of shit phone. And then Chris sees kind of like a map that's stapled on the side of the gas station, goes over there and kind of looks at where the highway is and looks if there's another route and finds a dirt road that if you follow the dirt road, it leads up to the highway past that accident. So he's like, I think I'll take this road. And he goes back to the guy and says, Hey, it says there's a dirt road on the map that kind of goes up and meets the highway. Do you know anything about that? And this guy's answer is, if you say so.
if you say so. yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna try that. So he leaves and he goes, take care to the guy and goes and gets in his car. And that guy looks back at him and he's like, you the one gonna need to take care. I freaking had to rewind this whole part just to watch this dude again. Like he cracks me up. And now that I know he's in part two, I'm fucking watching part two because I love this guy.
I know. No.
So anyway, this takes a remote dirt road, hoping to bypass the traffic, right? At this point, we get the rest of our cast of characters introduced. You get Jessie, which is played by your favorite woman on the planet, at least at this time when this movie came out. Eliza Dushku,
Yep.
How'd you
Eliza
say it?
Dushku. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Eliza, I
We
think
get Carly.
Eliza Dushku. I think that's how you say it. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Good looking girl. We
yeah.
get Carly, who is played by Emanuela Cricui. She's kind of our like playfully free-spirited person. We get Scott, played by Jeremy Sisto, who's Carly's fiance. He's lighthearted and caring. But I have no idea where I've seen this guy before, but I know I've seen him in other films. I know I have because he plays
Uh,
the same fucking character in every movie he's in.
yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna have to look up what else I've seen him in later because I know I've seen him a thousand times. You get Evan, who's a sarcastic, kind of laid back dude, and you get his fiance, uh, played by Lindy Booth, who's pretty cool chick. I think they're both stoners. Evan and Francine. That's all they want to do is get high. So
yeah.
uh,
Okay. And these are the two people I
like
have
there has
something
to
to
be
say
token
to, Matt.
stoners in the
Do you
group, right?
not recognize them? Do you not recognize both of those actors?
No, no. Who are they?
No.
No. Who are
Okay.
they?
Evan, the guy you're talking about, that actor,
Hmm.
he plays Mr. Nice Guy that we were referring to in Dawn of the Dead.
No shit.
And his fiance, what's her name? Lindy Booth plays the girl that drives the truck out to get the dog, save the dog from zombies.
Get the fuck out of here. I did not recognize him at all. Okay, okay,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
So, for you guys that missed the episode, we just recently did Dawn of the Dead, which was a
yeah,
pretty fun movie to do a podcast
yeah,
episode
yeah.
on. But if you listen to that, you'll realize who these two actors are. I did not get it. I knew that I'd fucking seen them somewhere. I didn't know
Yeah.
where. No, I know. Okay.
I thought you noticed it.
I did not notice it, dude. Maybe it's just the way that they're dressed. Sometimes if you dress actors a different way, you just don't realize who they are. Or
I,
maybe I'm just old. That's
I mean,
possible too.
the girl, I recognized her immediately. No, but back in the day when I saw the original movie, I didn't notice it until like the third time I watched it because I paused it, no,
Yeah.
and I saw his face, no,
Okay.
and then I went back, looked into Dawn of the Dead, and then I noticed it's the same guy from those two roles.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I'm glad you told me because I did not know that. So that's our characters, right?
yeah,
Don't get attached to
yeah.
them very quickly because they don't
They're
last
gonna
very
get
long.
killed. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so these guys have broken down on the same dirt road that Chris is taking, and their car's kind of there. They're not in their car. I think they're probably off on the side of the road somewhere, whatever. Chris is speeding down this dirt road because he's trying to get to this interview. Why would you fumble around with shit on the ground in your car or a CD or whatever uh, when you're driving 45 miles an hour on a dirt road that's windy as fuck? I don't know. This guy does it. He drops his CD, picks it back up. He doesn't get in a wreck, even though you think he's going to get in a wreck. Next time he sees a dead deer, and he takes way too long looking at the dead deer on the road, and runs smack into their fucking car that's broke down on the road. Right?
yeah.
Uh, yeah. So he smashes into their car. He gets out. He's okay. His beautiful car is completely fucked up. And their car is
Yeah.
a little smashed. They come running out of the woods like, "Oh, what the fuck? Are you okay?" Blah blah blah. He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Um, let's see. Scott steps out, which he's the big dude who I say I've seen him in a bunch of different movies or whatever. He's like, "Oh, it's okay, man. He's all right. Everybody's okay. We'll get through this. You know, not a big deal. He already said he's going to pay for the damages." And then he realizes that his bicycle's been crushed in the accident as well. And he's like, "Oh, shit, you fucking destroyed my bike, man." Like it changes like this. He's like, "Okay," to being pissed off now that his bike is destroyed. We find
No,
out that the
not Mo. It's
reason,
kind of like, yeah. He was more like, oh, well, I guess that was my bike.
yeah, uh, we find out that the reason their car is broken down is because they have a flat tire because somebody laid barbed wire in the road, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we find that out because Jessie, your girl, comes out of the woods with the barbed wire in her hand. She's like, somebody absolutely did this on purpose because it's tied to a tree over here. They're trying to fuck up cars. And then you get a glimpse at their tire and it's just full of barbed wire. Like they're not going anywhere. So the group kind of gets together, like they do their introduction to each other. They get together and discuss their predicament and figure out what they're going to do. Uh, Evan and Francine decide that they're just gonna not do anything and stay with the car and get really high. So that's what they do. They don't help the group at all.
And bang.
They just
Yeah.
stay back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stay back, get high and bang, which if this was a Friday the 13th movie, they would have been the next ones to get killed anyway. And big shock,
Yeah.
they do.
I mean, but it's always the people who stay back to bang or get high are the ones that are going to get killed. It's not only Friday the 13th movie.
No, it's not only
That's
Friday
like
the
a,
13th.
a,
This
a typical
these
horror
another
trope.
ones. Yeah. So the rest of the group, besides those two guys, take off down the dirt road to try and see if they can find someone to help them out, right? Yeah. While waiting at the SUV, um, Evan kind of hears something off in the trees, right? So he hears something. He's
Yeah,
high as
yeah,
hell. So I mean, he probably is thinking he's imagining it, but he walks into the woods to go see what the sound is. And we get our first kill, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
we don't see it. Um, or do we? Do we see him get killed, or is that
No,
a off
Evan is
off
killed
screen
off
kill?
screen.
Okay, okay,
It's an off-screen kill
right.
because his fiance goes out to look for him in the woods because she's like, "Are you pink?" Because he never come back. No. Then she walks out into the woods and stumbles upon his ear. She sees like his ear laying on the floor, and of course she starts to freak out or whatever. And
Yeah,
then I think one of the cannibals at this time packs her from behind, stakes the barbed wire through her mouth, and just picks her up by it. You hear her scream, no? And that's
yeah.
pretty much, I think, where the
Pretty.
scene ends. And obviously, she just got killed. But it's really brutal because you really see him from behind putting the barbed wire in her mouth and
Yeah.
really janking it. This is
Oh
like I
yeah,
think like Sawtooth, like a guy that's like also our height, like
yeah.
6'3", and is like
Well, he's
super
bigger than
massive
that. These
guy.
guys are huge,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
These guys are huge. Like I'd say, how we were talking about how big Jason was. These guys are arguably both, not all three of them, but two of them are about as big as him. Like just a
Sure.
gigantic
One
hulking
is a
giant.
skinny guy. Nah, I mean
Yeah,
Three Finger is his name. I think. No?
Three Finger and
Yeah,
Sawtooth, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah.
I don't know what the laughing guy's name is. One Eye. One Eye's his name. Right. So yeah, great kill. Really well done. Also practical, no CGI. Really brutal. Great start. Right. Um, Chris, Jesse, Carly, and Scott kind of come across a cabin, right? Uh, that's kind of in the middle of
Yeah,
nowhere.
yeah,
Um, it's deep in the woods. Uh, the thing that kills me about this is the entire time Carly is complaining that she has to pee, right?
yeah, yeah.
Go in the woods, maybe?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. Going that's one thing, but there are a lot of people, specifically a lot of girls, that have issues with that for hygienic reasons, I guess. I mean, but yeah, that's also like she's complaining
Yeah.
the entire time. We have to pee, I have to pee, and then they come across this cabin. I mean, we're at the cabin part right now, no? And like, oh, we gotta go in there because of your phone.
Yeah.
And the was like, no, we can't break into somebody's house, but and she's like, but I have to pee. And he's like, "Well,
Right.
I'm not sure if that's a good enough reason to break into
But
somebody's
that
house."
was my question. Like, would you just pee in the woods or break into
Yeah.
somebody's house? By the way, Mike, also,
Huh?
does this cabin look like it has a fucking bathroom in it?
Actually, no, no, because
Like,
they go in there because they want a phone,
no.
not because Chris is like, yeah, but we need a phone. And also the next reason, do you think this cabin has a phone or
Yeah, yeah. That's why this whole thing makes no sense to me. Like, if you needed either of those things, I would have not have gone in the cabin.
no,
I wouldn't have. I'd have kept
no,
going and gone somewhere else because that place is not going to have either of those. So while they're in the cabin, they kind of realize what the place is because they start finding, knives, axes, stuff with blood on it,
human body
weird,
parts.
weird
Yeah,
body parts in jars, shit like that. And then I think it's Carly goes into what is supposed to kind of be the bathroom, and there is a bathtub in there.
yeah,
And in the bathtub is kind of a dissolving corpse, right? In what
yeah,
looks like lye or whatever. That's their hint to get the fuck out of there. So Carly goes running out. They all go running out. Um, as they're running out, we kind of get introduced to the three bad guys, right? Because they're driving up in their truck to the cabin as they're about to try to escape the cabin.
Yeah, yeah,
And so we get Three Finger, which is the skinny dude. By the way, these names are not said in the movie. This just I had to look this shit up. But
yeah.
uh, Three
But also,
Fingers, which is yeah. Go ahead.
keep on going. Now, this the just thing I wanted to say to Three Fingers, the actor who plays him. No,
Is Julian Richings? What has he done?
he's done multiple roles. His biggest role, what he's known popular for, is he played Death in Supernatural.
Hmm,
No,
I did not know that.
like
Okay.
like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. He plays.
Yeah.
I've seen him in multiple movies. I just love the actor because he just have this like this three finger. No, that type of character to a certain degree. No, you have a little bit of that in
Hmm.
every character he plays. No, but he's not like
Okay.
that he plays the same character all the time. He literally plays
Yeah.
a multitude of characters, but it's just how he plays so much different characters, no? But every character he plays has always a small part of Three Finger in it.
Okay. Okay. Well, to be fair, this guy is the comedy relief for the movie. If there is any comedy relief in this movie, it's him.
Yeah.
Because every time this guy
Yeah.
opens his mouth, I laugh my ass off. Because his laugh is ridiculous. It's maniacal as fuck. Like no matter what he does, including if he's like doing something gratuitous, like having to climb something, or he's doing something that looks like work or whatever, he's
Yeah.
like the whole fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I crack the fuck up because he does a great job, and the laughing is always there, and it's that stereotypical scary hick in the woods kind of laughter, and he does it really well. Brilliantly done.
Yeah. And just yeah, just Julian
Sawtooth,
Reggie, he does that actually with all of his characters, not necessarily um the way he does it in Wrong Turn, but being his character being the comic relief in multiple shows that are usually dark and very serious, he does that all the time, even if it's a character that's not that way. For example, he's Death. No, like the embodiment of death, Grim Reaper, Horseman of the Apocalypse. No, and in Supernatural, he's super serious all the time, deadly serious. But the comments he makes, the way, are so fucking sarcastic sometimes. You just crack up laughing.
okay.
Yeah,
I remember the character in the show. It's been so fucking long though, and I would have
yeah,
never known that was him.
yeah,
The other two guys, we get Sawtooth, who's Gary Robbins, which I'm not really sure what else he's been in, but he's a fucking huge guy, or at least they make him look huge in this.
yeah,
And then we get One Eye, which is he's kind of like a mute. Like you never really hear this guy say anything or do anything or make any sounds. He's kind of like a I wouldn't say gentle because he's a murderer, but
yeah,
he doesn't really have that much of a presence. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So these guys come driving up in their truck. The group hides, and they're kind of like the couple are hiding in the closet, and then our two main characters are hiding under the bed. This is where they've hidden themselves.
yeah, yeah,
The couple kind of can see what's going on through a keyhole, and the other two guys are under the bed. So the only thing that they get to see is like whatever's on the ground level, right? So these cannibals, cannibal rednecks, I guess is what we're gonna call them, hicks, hillbillies, whatever. Uh, they drag in the dead body of Francine, right?
yeah, yeah,
So they drag her body in, and they lay it on the table immediately. Well, no, they lay it on the floor first, but it's on the floor directly in front of the bed that they're hiding underneath. So they are now face to face with the face of her corpse that has barbed wire stuck in the mouth and yanked back to the ears. Like it's just all gone here. She's dead as fuck. They're hiding under the bed. They're trying to be quiet because they don't want the cannibals to realize what's going on. One of the cannibals drops a few things on the floor. One of them's a shotgun shell. And then he leans over to pick up the shotgun shell and comes dangerously close to seeing these guys under the bed, but he doesn't see them. He picks up the shotgun shell and that's it. He kind of a quick scare. And then they begin dismembering her corpse. They pick it back up, put it on the table, and they begin dismembering it. And the guys underneath the bed see the blood coming down everywhere.
yeah.
And then the guys that are in the closet can see the dismemberment through the keyhole. they don't show a whole lot of it. They only kind of show the aftermath, which is fine by me. I don't really think we needed to see it because whatever. I like
Nah,
gore,
I
but
mean,
there's
yeah. I mean,
barely any purpose for it.
yeah, I mean, thing is, when it comes to horror movies, there are certain times where I say, like, yeah, it's fine when they do it in a horror movie, but I fully understand if they don't want to show it to that detail and just show the aftermath. I think that's fine as well. You
I
know?
think it goes with so I you could say this is a slasher flick, but I feel like this movie's filmed very well from a cinematography standpoint, and the fact that a lot of the things you don't see, and somehow because you don't see them, it's more disgusting because
Yes.
your
Yeah.
imagination can kind of go wild about what they're doing with the corpse.
Yeah,
You
of
know what I
course.
mean?
Yeah, and I
Uh,
think even though I never considered it a slasher as well, for me,
yeah,
I also thought to me it always felt like it was more a thriller, nah, with brutal kills in it, nah, because
yeah,
when it comes to slasher movies, slasher are always you have like this one murderer that's going after people, killing them with a specific weapon that they characteristically use. You don't have this. This is like multiple people, no, that are just literally terrorizing these guys, and it's just like these people have no idea where to go. They're totally helpless because they have no weapons, no way they can defend themselves, and they have no idea how to get out of there. And it's that situation what makes this special and also makes it, in my opinion, more a thriller than a slasher.
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't consider it a slasher film. It's the whole thing that makes this film scary, just like you said, is that there is no way out. It's chaos because these guys are always a split second from getting murdered. You know,
Yeah.
the entire film, they're only, always a split second from getting murdered. Um, so these guys disassemble her corpse, and then we don't know, but are you assuming that they ate as well? Or are you assuming that they just went to sleep?
Uh, well now. Actually, I assuming they cut off specific body parts, got them ready to be cooked, nah, and then went to sleep because before the other people before they decide we have to get out of here, you saw Chris uh going in the kitchen and there was something being cooked. So these guys obviously already had something on the stove, no? So it appears to me they cut off specific body parts. I mean, stored them in their fridge, no, and then went to sleep. That's what I think. I don't think at this point that they ate anything. I
Yeah.
mean, but yeah, yeah.
Well, that's the odd thing I was thinking too. I'm like, do these guys have a fridge?
Yes, you saw multiple of those fridges.
There were fridges? Okay, yeah, there
Yeah, yeah,
were. Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
there were multiple. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So they have places to put their food before they eat it. Okay, so these guys go to sleep. When both the cannibals are asleep, are all three of them? All three of them are in the house? All three of them? Yeah, they're all asleep. So at this point, everybody that's been hiding decides to try to escape. And this is a scene where the tension's really high because these guys are both asleep and they're trying to make their way through this cabin without
Without
making any
waking them up.
sound to wake these two guys up, right? Multiple things happen as they're trying to get out that would probably wake anybody up, but doesn't wake these guys up until they get to the door and the spring that's on the door, the spring mechanism starts to make a sound. Chris throws his hand up there and holds the spring, which, if you know anything about doing something like that, or you yourself have held a spring when someone opens the door, it's extremely painful. It can cut into your hand. Like this guy's in pain because he's holding the thing so it doesn't make any noise. Um, they all manage to pretty much get out for the most part. But then something alerts them, and I think it's the other girl, right?
No, no,
Carly?
is actually everybody makes it out, and Chris was in the way where he was just holding the spring, no, and he looked back, and then he saw that Sawtooth just woke up and was looking at him.
Right.
No, it's not really that
Okay.
anything
Yeah.
specifically happened. It's just Sawtooth just woke up and saw him. No, and then Chris let's go and run, and then everybody just starts running. No, one thing at least I think is kind of interesting is that they all run in the same direction. Very often in situations like that, everybody somehow just runs. No, but
Yeah.
I also think you can pretty much say that they were pretty much all walking in one line. No, And in the point where Chris screamed, run, okay, then they just all started running in the same direction because they were
Yeah,
all basically already walking in one line, so.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So they run off, and the cannibals don't pursue them. Like, not directly where they're going. The cannibals all hop back in their truck and take off in a different direction. But here's the thing, like, to somebody watching this movie, they'd be like, why are they going that way when these guys are going this way? Well, these guys, all they do is hunt. They know these woods
Yeah, they
like
know
the
the
back of
terrain.
their hands. Right. So they know exactly where these guys are going to come out on the other side of the woods. So they're taking off in their truck. These guys are taking off up the hill. Um, they kind of get all the way up the hill and then kind of down towards the other side, where there is a road, right? There's a road down there. They're forced to kind of run through the trees, and then Scott tries to lead the killers away, but is shot in the back with arrows. Am I
No,
correct
you forget.
by that?
Yeah, you forgot the entire part, Matt. You forgot the entire part where they came out where with the junkyard with all of the cars. Yeah, and
Right.
and then
Yeah,
and then they
that's
were
the part.
sitting there
I was
talking
thinking
like,
this part was
yep.
later, but it's
Then they were
not.
all talking, like, oh, we have maybe one of these cars is running, and Scott is like, hey, be honest, guys, none of these cars is running, no. And then all of a
No.
sudden, then the
Yeah.
three cannibals show up, and then they hide behind the car. That is when basically they're like, okay, what the fuck are we going to do? Chris notices
Mhm.
that they actually left the key in their truck, and Chris is like, okay, we should go try to get the fucking truck, no. What
Right. I
technically is
remember
not a
now.
bad
Yeah.
idea, no? And then they come up with one of them has to, yeah,
That's an idea. That's exactly what I would have done.
yeah, yeah, then they say, okay, because they all have guns. Then Chris says, okay, we have to create a distraction. Chris first takes off, but then he gets shot by the cannibals. No? So then Scott, no,
In the back of the
also
leg.
creates a distraction, runs in the other direction, so the girls can pick up Chris because he just got shot, take him to the car, and
Right.
then pick up Scott later on. And then
Right.
of course, Scott, I mean, not Scott, I mean, the two girls get Chris, take him to the car, and then they take off with the car, drive around the road for some time. No? And Scott catches up with them, no? And right before Scott reaches the truck, he gets shot by Sawtooth with 3 arrows.
Yep. Which I like this kill, right?
Yeah.
Because they're all in the truck and they're down on the road and he's running down the hill towards them and they're like, okay, we can make it. We can get him in the truck in time. He's coming down the hill and you see him kind of stop a little bit, pause, and they're like, why are you stopping? Run, run, run. And he tries to come a little further and then he stops again. And each time you hear something hitting something, right?
Yeah.
The last time he gets an arrow in his back and it comes through his chest. And at that point, you see him double over and you realize he's been shot 3 different times with 3 different arrows. Which, by the way, did you realize how big these fucking arrows are, dude?
Huge. Huge.
Massive. This
They're
is not
like,
like normal hunting arrows. This is like gigantic arrows. Um,
yeah, they're like the same
yeah,
size.
so he's dead.
They're the same size that the orcs in Lord of the Rings use. That's the size of these arrows.
Fucking orc arrows. This guy's an orc. We figured it out. That's why he's that fucking big. The dude is a
He's an
fucking
orc.
orc.
He's an orc.
He's an orc. So he gets killed by these 3 massive arrows. They decide, obviously, there's no reason waiting around, so they take off in the truck, and they keep going. Eventually, they get the truck stuck in the woods, right? So they drive into kind of like a muddy area, and this pickup truck just gets stuck, so they have to abandon the truck and then keep going through the woods. As they're going through the woods, they come upon this radio tower, which this radio tower looks like it's been abandoned for 20 years. Like it
It's not
doesn't
a
look like
radio tower. It's a watchtower.
a watchtower. Okay, watchtower. So they climb the watchtower and they get up inside it to kind of hide out. They find some supplies. They find some glow sticks, some glow stick lights. I was thinking, oh, now's the perfect time for a rave because everybody's got a glow stick. Uh,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
while they're looking around inside this thing, here's one of the plot holes, and maybe it's not a plot hole, but I'm going to say it anyway. They find a radio, a perfectly good working radio that's tuned to a channel where people can hear them, right? So they pull the radio out, they turn it on. Chris is like, hey, don't mess with the dial, leave it where it's at because that's probably somewhere we can contact somebody. And they turn on the radio and they start radioing for help. Um, they're not able to get anybody on the radio at first, right? They're just trying and trying and trying. The whole
Yeah.
time, Chris is looking out the window to see if they're being followed, to see if these guys have found them. Um, and then Chris notices that these three hillbillies are down there with torches walking through the woods, right? So they're on their trail. These guys are probably expert trackers, dude. Like if these guys have been living there for that long and hunting and living off the land and people to eat, they know this area. They've been tracking these guys to get there. They're down there with torches. Chris notices it, says, "Everybody shut up, cover up the lights that we have in the cabin so they can't see that there's lights up here." And of course, then the radio crackles with somebody who's heard their plea for help. And it's loud as fuck. The radio alerts the three guys that are on the ground, the three cannibals, and they hear it and they realize, oh shit, these guys are in the watchtower. Right. So they start coming towards the watchtower. Here's where I say there's a plot hole. If these guys know everything that's on their property, I can guarantee you they've been in that watchtower before. Why did they not destroy the radio? Just seems like that would have been a smart thing to do.
I can tell you a few things. I can tell you a few things to that, but not until we get to the end.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Because I've seen the
So
sequels.
yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So they're fixing plot. They're fixing plot holes with the sequels, is what you're telling me. That's good. That's good. Okay. So these cannibals start climbing the watchtower. I get the feeling that it's not all of them. It's probably just Three Fingers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So Three Fingers is climbing the watchtower. They hear them climbing the watchtower, and Chris grabs this huge trunk that's really heavy and puts it over the trapdoor so that nobody
Mhm.
can get up into where they are. Um, Three Fingers sticks his one good hand up into the trapdoor, and Chris slams down on it and like hits his fingers. And of course, we get this
Yeah.
scream from him, and then a
Okay.
little bit of a laugh too. So
Yeah.
it hurt good, apparently. Whatever. So Three Fingers realizes he can't get up into the tower where they are and decides to set the fucking thing on fire. So that's what he does. He sets the watchtower on fire. Everybody inside realizes it. And they're like, okay, the watchtower is on fire. We have to get out of this thing. They're kind of looking down at the trees that are on either side of the watchtower, and the trees are not that far away. At least that's what he says, right?
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, it's only a couple feet. It's only a couple feet. We can just jump through these trees. I would not have fucking done this, Mike. I would not have done this. Would you have done this?
I gotta be honest. I mean, I mean, what decision do you have? Go down, get killed, stay there, be burned to death, or I don't know. I have no idea, Matt. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I really have because I mean, obviously, anybody I think would have not made this because in the moment you from that height land onto a tree stump, you will probably just slap down on it and break like at least your every fucking bone in your body, I
Fucking
guess.
bone in your body, right?
But yeah, that's why this is yeah, but even what would I have done? I don't know. I mean, at this point, I would have might just found a rope, wrapped it around my neck, tied it towards the window, and then just jumped.
Well,
because
that
because
that was
in,
kind of my thing. Like,
yeah, in a realistic
you,
situation, Matt, there is no way anybody would have made it out of here alive because they set that watchtower on fire to smoke them out. So those three dumbasses are waiting at the bottom of that watchtower. Go down there, you're dead. Stay there, you're dead. Jump out of the window, you're dead. So, I mean, I would have literally just found a rope because there's probably going to be one in there.
exactly
Put
what I was about to say.
put it towards something, wrap the rope around my fucking neck, and then just jump out the window.
That's what I was about to say, dude, because we saw them rooting through everything and there was perfectly good ropes up there. There were
Yeah.
quite a few, actually. So you could chalk it up to these guys being scared out of their wits and not thinking properly, and that's probably why they wouldn't have done it. But I would have taken the rope, thrown it around the inside of the thing, wrapped it around my waist, and jumped, and at least dangled, and then swung myself to a tree. But no, these guys decide to jump out of a window 30 feet at least, because you see the fall. 30 feet at least from the nearest tree. Chris does it first, and he bangs himself the fuck up the whole way down until he finally grabs onto a branch and he's in the tree.
And
Yep.
Chris is banged up anyway because he got shot in the leg.
Got shot in the leg. This guy's already doing better. I think he might actually have a healing factor as well, but we won't get into that. Anyway, um, so he jumps out. He bangs himself up pretty bad getting into the trees. Uh, the two girls do it as well. Every one of them is a fall of chaos, like absolute fall of chaos that looks like it's painful as shit, and not one of them would have survived it. They did. We'll just go from there. They survived it. They're in the trees. The cannibals realize that they're in the trees, and we know that because we start seeing arrows being shot into branches where they're walking along. And that's how we know, okay, these guys are shooting at them, right? They kind of creep along the trees as much as they can, trying to make their way from one tree to another to get away. Um, and then the cannibals have kind of had enough of that and send three fingers up the tree, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This guy is a nimble little fuck, dude. Like he can get around everything. This guy
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
climber, right? So yeah, he gets in the trees. He's coming after him. Supernatural speed through these trees. By the way, this guy is extremely fast and limber. He's going through the trees. Um, the other two, our main two characters, climb the tree higher because they're still kind of in their right mind and they keep going up. Carly is frozen, scared to death. So she stays right where she is. She's pinned up against a tree like this, trying to make herself part of the tree, hyperventilating, freaking out. Of course, Three Fingers comes up right behind her. And this is where we get my favorite kill of the movie, right? Brilliant fucking kill.
Yeah.
Uh, he takes an axe and hits her right in the mouth. Bam, like this. The axe goes through her mouth and into the tree. And so what you get then is a picture of her face with the axe in it, and then the next scene you get is kind of a bird's eye view of the top of her head. And
Yeah.
you're looking at the top of her head that's sitting on top of an axe, and below her you can see what's left of her body falling through
Yeah.
the
Just
tree.
falling down to the floor, huh? Yeah.
Brilliantly filmed scene. I love this kill for so many reasons. And have not seen this kill done again in any other movie since, but
Yeah. I
I
can't
have to
remember
praise this
either.
movie for
Yeah.
that kill alone. Yeah, that kill alone is amazing. I love it. So she's dead. Carly's dead. So now we only get the other two that are left. Um, Three Fingers comes up on Chris, or no, he comes up on the
No.
girl.
No. No. Before that, there.
And
Chris and Jesse are trying to kind of get out, and Chris has the idea to pull back one of the branches. What is a huge fucking branch, by the way? No, then Jesse's like, "What
yeah,
the fuck are you
yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah,
do?"
yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "I'm gonna give these guys a free flying ticket." No, then he basically explains what she wants to do. No, well, and then Jesse's like, oh, "No, that's you're injured. You're too slow. I'm gonna go do it." No. Then she goes out, and there's a scene where Three Fingers kind of catches Jesse, or she lures him towards there. No, and then he Three Fingers lands in front of Jesse and has like this real weird look on his face, and he's with his knife
I
going
love
like,
that. I love that.
yeah,
His
there
acting
it
is
is.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Creepy as fuck. Uh, yeah, and then Chris releases the tree branch that he's been holding back the whole time.
yeah,
It's a big tree branch too, and it swings and it hits Three Fingers and knocks him out of the fucking ballpark, dude.
yeah.
He's nosedive straight first to the ground, right? And from this fall, we can
Mm-mm.
also probably say that a normal human being would have definitely died from this fall. Is that fair?
Probably, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that would have definitely killed somebody. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that would have killed somebody. So nosedive straight into the dirt beneath the trees from probably 70 feet up. Like this is pretty high up that they are. The other two brothers, cannibal brothers, run towards him because they realize he's laying on the ground. They get over to him on the ground. They realize he's hurt. He's moving, so he's obviously still alive. And then Sawtooth looks up at the trees where they are and goes, you know, screaming at him because they hurt his brother. Uh,
Yeah, a
then
middle-aged guy screaming at a cloud.
Yeah, you can totally make a meme out of that, just like the Grandpa
Yeah.
Simpson meme. Yeah, yeah. So this is the part I don't understand a little bit, and maybe it doesn't really matter, but they're way up in the trees. The cannibals are right there close to them. I'm guessing the cannibals were really worried about Three Fingers, so they just let them kind of get away. Because the next scene that we see
Yeah,
them, they're
yeah.
climbing down the side of a waterfall mountain that's not like steep, but it's like this, and they're climbing down towards the waterfall so that they can hide under the rocks. Um, Apparently they've gotten far enough away from the cannibals to where they've decided they can go to sleep, right? So She gives Chris kind of a little bit of a story background about her, but I don't really think it makes a whole lot of. It doesn't matter in the scheme of the whole movies. But apparently, her boyfriend broke up with her
No,
before.
no, she explained. She just explains why she was out there with her friends. I mean, her boyfriend kind of dumped her. Huge idiot, in my opinion. But and then then
You don't know. She could be psycho, dude. You don't know.
yeah, probably yeah.
How many times have you met a girl that was hot and seemed nice? She was like, "Oh, my boyfriend treated me like shit, and he just broke up with me," only to find out that she's a complete fucking psycho.
I mean,
Bunch of guys
Matt, you
like
know
that
my
too. This is
ex.
not
No,
just relegated to women. Whatever. Yeah.
I mean, Matt, you know my ex. You know my ex girlfriend, right? No.
Oh shit. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, super hot, but character, yeah, different thing. No,
Yeah.
however, no. Yeah, she basically just says because she was, of course, totally a fucking wreck because her boyfriend broke up with her. Obviously, everybody's a fucking wreck at that point, no. Um, her friends get up and says, "Oh, we're gonna just go on a field trip to get her, her head off things." No, no, that's how she ended up with her friends there in the woods.
Yep. So they go to sleep, wake up the next morning. She kind of has a little bit of a nightmare thinking that Three Fingers is there ready to kill them, but she realizes it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
wakes them both up, and they decide to travel a little bit further to get away. So they're traveling along another one of these huge hills that's in West Virginia, which, if you've ever been to West Virginia, it's all it is wilderness and deserted towns and rolling hills that are covered with trees, right?
yeah, yeah.
So they're at the top of one of these things, and finally, Chris spots a road. And not only does he spot a road,
A
he
road where a
spots,
cop car is going.
yeah, he
Yeah,
realizes a cop car is going, but is coming. But before that happens, the rednecks catch up with them and attack them, right? And they take her away. They take Jessie away. He decides, fuck, I'm taking this chance anyway, even though she's being taken away, and I'm going to stop the cops. So he runs down to the road, jumps in front of the cop car. The cop sees him and stops right before he hits him. Cop steps out of the car, and the cop is like, "Hey man, what the fuck are you doing? Are you the guys who radioed saying you were in some watchtower? I've been looking all over for you guys."
yeah.
Um, uh, Chris kind of explains, "Yes, that's us. People are dead. We need your help." And the cop is like, "Dead? People are dead? What?" And at that very second, he gets an arrow right in his eye. Right? So the cop gets an arrow in his eye and goes down to the ground, and he's on the ground. Chris looks up and realizes that he's being shot at with arrows. Chris looks down and realizes that if he gets under the truck, maybe the cannibal won't notice that he got under the truck and he can hide. So he gets under the truck. While he's under the truck, he realizes that the cop has a pistol in his waistband. So he's thinking, "I'm going to get this pistol from the cop. I'm going to kill this guy, and then I'm going to go save her." Before he can do that, Sawtooth comes down and he's right there, dude. This guy was way up that fucking hill, but he got there in like 2 seconds, and he's standing next to the truck. Um, Chris is underneath it. He's not going to go for the pistol now because he realizes if he does, the cannibal's going to notice he's there. Cannibal walks around, looks at the cop, notices the cop drop the keys to the truck, so he picks up the keys to the truck, and then he picks up the cop, stuffs the cop into the back of the truck, his whole body into the back of the truck, along with the gun that he wasn't able to get. Uh, and Chris is like, "Well, I know there's a whole mental process here that goes on, but we don't hear it." But he's probably like, "I don't know how to get back to their cabin from here, but I know I have to go save Jesse." So he gets underneath the truck and pulls an Indiana Jones, right? So
Yeah.
he's underneath the truck, and he's gripping himself to the bottom of the truck so that he can ride with the truck. So he's doing that. Sawtooth takes off in the truck and goes back to the cabin. In the meantime, we kind of see what's going on with Jesse. Back at the cabin, you've got One Eye and Jesse, and One Eye, Three Finger, and Jesse. They've tied Jesse up to a table. They've gagged her so that she can't scream. One Eye is kind of just like holding a knife over her face, taunting her like he's gonna kill her. Um,
Yeah,
she's
that's kind of the thing. You could discuss what Ashley wants to do with her. I had discussions with this. I mean, back in
is
the
this
day
something that has
when I first watched the theater, I had discussions with my sister and with multiple other people. That saw the movies. The one people say he's some kind of twisted sexual sicko pervert. No, what's possible?
okay? Yeah.
My mom, when she watched the movie, she was like, "Oh, they probably want to keep this one as a pet."
Your mom's so fucking innocent, dude.
Yeah, what?
You know, at least your mom made it through the movie. My mom wouldn't have made it through the opening scene. She would have been like, "Well, it's time for me to bring you Bible study. I'm not hanging out for this movie."
Hey,
So at least,
man. You know, my mom also likes horror movies. I mean, guess why?
yeah. Well, her mom, right?
What? What?
Her mom. Mom.
I don't understand you.
Her mom. Is it your grandmother who's a horror fanatic?
Yeah,
Is her mom?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Then yeah, I understand why she likes
yeah.
horror films.
My grandma was a
Mm.
super horror fanatic. My mom likes horror movies, but she's not necessarily a fan. My mom always liked Alien and Aliens, no? So that was kind of crazy, because when I was growing up, like the most kids are like, with their moms, like, oh, they don't like that movies and it's nerd stuff. If I sat down and start nerding out about aliens, my mom would sit down and would start having a conversation with me about things. Like, oh yeah, Bishop is actually kind of cool and blah, blah, blah.
You're lucky. I had nobody in my family that was into horror films. I felt like a complete fucking weirdo. And here's the thing. I
What?
don't know how it is with other people that are into horror or how it is with their families, but if you are around uh people in your life that are not into horror films and you kind of feel like a fucking weirdo, right? A little bit. You probably didn't have that problem, but I did.
Yeah,
Right?
well, not necessarily become movies. I mean, I was always a horror fanatic. And my parents knew that, and specifically when I was very young, they really looked into what movies I was watching. Later on, when I was 12 or 13, and my parents know the movies didn't bother, they were like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, no, watch it, no." The crazy thing is, my parents also they didn't have a problem with me watching horror movies, but my dad had a problem with me watching porn when I was a kid, when I was
Okay.
younger. No, because
Understandable.
understandable, but my dad was very extreme because porn is very disrespectful to women, and he doesn't like that, and he didn't want me to become that way. No,
Okay.
so for that reason,
Okay.
that's what
Okay.
different
Well,
discussion.
cheers to your
But
dad then. That's yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, back
yeah,
to my
but
original point. Like
yeah,
I told you before, I kind of grew up in the extreme South in
yes,
Alabama.
yes,
And
yes, yes.
so most of my peers in high school and when I was younger were all very Christiany and into the church. And my family were too. I was at church every Sunday. I was at church every Wednesday too. I was kind of forced to do it, whatever. I still had a great childhood. I'm not complaining. But nobody that I knew was into horror movies. Nobody. I felt like a complete fucking weirdo because any horror movie I could get my hand on and watch, I was going to watch it. And then I wanted to talk about it because I love the way horror movies make me feel. At least at that age, like it gave you a feeling that you don't get from action films or sci-fi or any of that stuff. And now I realize that feeling is fear, right? So I was a little bit scared, and I love the way that made me feel. And I also like the kills. I love the blood and gore. But if you tried to explain that to other people in a community that are really into the church, can you imagine how much of a fucking weirdo you come off as?
I can imagine if you have like
Yeah.
strongly religious people. No, um, I don't know. I can imagine it. No, but I mean that's just the thing that I think Germany is just way different than the States. Because how should I say it? I was always an atheist, just like my parents. But how should I say it? The most people I knew were all religious. They were either evangelic or Catholic. I mean, technically both Christians, but does make sense. However, modern religions don't make sense anyway.
No, they
But
don't. We can go ahead and put that out there.
yeah,
They
yeah,
don't.
yeah. But however, a lot of kids and friends and people I grew up with were religious, but it's not the same way in Germany as it is in the States. I mean, I don't know much people no, that go to church every Sunday and every
Mhm.
Wednesday. I
Yeah.
barely know any of them. I mean, there are a lot, of course, and a lot of people that do that. But for the most part, it's like in Germany, it's mostly like, yeah, we're Christians. If you want to go to church on Sunday, go there. If not, well, then you don't. No,
Yeah.
and a lot of them also pray before going to bed or whatever, and that's one thing. But the only kind of thing where it's like in Germany, where you have like this social thing where you have to do it, is of course Christmas, obviously, no, and other certain stuff when children get baptized, weddings, and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
but how should I say it?
Well, what Mike is saying is absolutely true about Germany. It's if anybody listening to this has grown up down south or lives in the south or whatever, and you know how it is, or even up north, there's really religious communities up north too. It is constantly in your face. You feel like you're being judged a lot if you like some things that other people don't like. And so
Yeah,
coming to a country like Germany is like a whole different world. And for me, I came here at 17 just to visit, and I knew being here after just the first couple months that I wanted to live here because I didn't have religion thrown in my face all the fucking time. And I didn't feel like a fucking weirdo because there were a bunch of other Germans that loved horror movies and heavy metal and things that I liked. So automatically felt
yeah,
like
yeah. The thing is,
belonged.
growing up, I didn't have I mean, I had the problem with music because I was the only one that listened to rock music.
Yeah.
Growing up, I listened to punk. I listened mainly to punk and punk rock. I didn't start listening to metal until I was like in my 20s or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
But horror movies was all of my friends watch horror movies. All you had to go is say, "I have this
Lucky
one
you.
movie. It's super fucking brutal." And then everybody in school was like, "Oh yeah, and we have to go watch that." No, and you have all of the guys, watching the movie, and the girls are all like, "Oh my god, ah, oh my god," and we guys are sitting there laughing our fucking asses off because all the girls are like, "Ah."
Still great. That for that reason alone, I do love going to the theater to watch horror movies
Yeah.
in any country because you can kind of watch the reactions of the crowd, and it's always like the girls that are like, like it's funny as shit. I love it because the guys are like, yeah, right in the eye, motherfucker, and the girls are like, fantastic. It's a great dynamic
Yeah.
live in a
Yeah.
theater,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, I think we
Okay.
have to get back to the movie, Matt. No.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So sorry for the side notes, but we actually really enjoy doing this shit. So we'll get back to the movie now.
We'll get back to
Uh,
the movie sometime.
to be fair, there's not a whole lot left.
No, no, we're pretty much
So
towards the end.
we've said that Jesse's in the cabin. Yeah, we said that Jesse's in the cabin. She's tied up. She's kind of sort of being a little bit tortured by one eye. Sawtooth shows up in the truck. Obviously, Chris is underneath it. Sawtooth comes in, and they look like they're all about to start tearing Jesse up the way that they did the first girl, right? And I cannot remember exactly how this happens, but Chris gets their attention from outside somehow, right? And that's what makes Sawtooth go to the door.
Yeah, that's obviously he take. No, he takes. No, he. I'm not sure. Sawtooth and One
There's
Eye
some,
have some kind of discussion going on, but the only thing they're saying is like. Okay, then One Eye sees, I guess, something. Probably he heard outside. He just looks out the window, and then Chris comes just drives through the fucking wall with a fucking car. No, that's
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He comes plowing through the fucking front of this cabin with the truck. Um, he knocks over one eye. This hit by this truck would have killed a normal person, but one eye gets hit. Uh, that kind of staggers the rest of the cannibals. Chris comes out of the truck with Molotov cocktails, smashes one behind Sawtooth, catching him on fire, smashes another one in the cabin, catching the rest of the cabin on fire. While the rednecks are on fire, he starts untying Jesse to get her the fuck out of there. And then, of course, Three Fingers comes through the fire of the front of the cabin and wants to attack them, correct? Yeah, so he does that. I can't remember exactly how this fight goes down because it was kind of a whirlwind, but Three Fingers gets an axe to the upper shoulder, kind of this
Yes.
area
Yeah.
right
Well,
here, right?
actually, that actually happens second way through because they have like a fight going on between Sawtooth and Chris. And Sawtooth has like because Chris was trying to unbind Jesse, no, and he could only unbind one hand, no, and then you see like Sawtooth coming after Chris, and they're in this fight. Sawtooth has Chris pretty much picks him up and is holding him in the wall, no, And then Jessie somehow gets her other hand loose, takes a bow and arrow, and shoots Sawtooth in the back of the head. Then comes the scene where you explain, no? And I think Chris is holding Three Finger, and Jesse just takes an axe and runs right in here into the breast. Exactly.
Yeah.
No?
Yep, that's what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Three Fingers falls
So
on the
then,
ground. He looks dead. He looks dead.
yes.
Like his mouth is wide open, his eyes are open. He ain't breathing anymore. As far as I was concerned, he was dead at that
He
point.
was, yeah.
Obviously Sawtooth is dead. One eye is dead. So these two escape
Nope.
into the woods.
Nope. Nope, you're missing a scene again.
What am I missing?
Yeah, because Chris and Jesse then turn around, start to walk out, and when they're walking out, one eye grabs one of them by the leg. I'm not sure which one. Then you see Sawtooth getting back up, looking at them, and then you see like Three Finger also starting to get back up, wanting to pull the axe out of his chest. And that's the scene where it specifically hints that these guys are extremely hard to kill because they have some kind of Wolverine healing
regenerative process.
No, exactly. Okay. Some regenerative powers or whatever.
Right.
Then they step back, outside of the house, and Jesse's like, shoot, And he's like, only have one bullet. And you see like Chris basically just looking because he's holding up the shotgun apparently, where the fuck should I shoot, because everything is burning already.
Right.
And he shoots at the tank of the truck.
Right.
Because, of course, in that situation, that was blowing up. I guess he was just
around the back of the truck. That's right. Yeah.
Because he was obviously looking, okay, where the fuck should I shoot? I only have one bullet. So he shoots at the gas tank of the truck, and then everything blows up. No?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everything's on fire. The entire fucking cabin is consumed by a massive fireball. Everybody should be dead as fuck at this point. Like, there should be no worry that these guys are going to get back up. So these two escape, and they leave. And then you get roll credits for the end of the film, right? No, you do. You do. You get roll credits. But then the scene with the next cop
because
comes.
they drive away. You see Jesse and Chris driving away. They return to the gas station.
Right. Okay.
Yeah?
With
if you say so guy. No? Yeah, exactly. And then this is something because they come truck
guy who obviously belongs here.
Yeah. Then they come one up the truck, and you notice, Matt, how he goes into the gas station and closes the door.
Because he sees the truck coming and he thinks it's the fucking cannibals, right?
Yeah.
And even this guy's scared of them.
No, not necessarily, but we'll come to that later on. However, then you see like Chris walking up, ripping off a map, getting back into the truck. Jesse and Chris look at each other. Then they drive off back to the highway. Then the credit scene rolls. After the credit scene, you see like a cop, coming up to the burned down house. What the fuck is going on or whatever? And then you see Three Finger coming up back towards him, picking up his axe. This hilarious giggle thing or whatever. And then hits.
Yeah,
that's the end of the movie. So
that's the end of the movie. Okay. So, because we don't have too terrible much time left, me and Mike have a band meeting that we have to go to like right at 8. But so, give me some background about the things that you wanted to talk about with these characters.
Yeah, okay. I asked the guys if we can postpone the band call, Matt, so we have a little bit more time. No?
Okay, perfect. All right, cool.
Yeah. I asked them if we could start. I asked them if we can start an hour later. No?
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. I just wrote that into our Slack group. However,
Okay, I try to ignore the shit out of my phone.
I also wrote it here to the chat because I thought you would read it, but whatever.
No, I ignored the shit out of my phone because if I don't, I'm gonna read all the fucking messages from the VA.
Yeah. The thing is, I've seen the sequel, so there's a lot more canon lore stuff I know, and a lot of people, you probably obviously thought that this guy at the gas station, the if you say so guy, is afraid of them.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I assume that because of what he did when they
You assumed that, but not if you see the sequels. He's one of them, Matt.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
He's related to them. He specifically is sitting at that gas station and sends people specifically down towards that road. Actually, it comes out in the second in the sequel. That guy is I think the brother of Sawtooth. No, And he has two kids, no? With, I think, brothers, sisters. This is all inbreed shit. However,
Yeah,
however,
it's
the
West
guy at the
Virginia.
gas
No offense to
station,
anybody
he
from
is
West
definitely
Virginia,
one
but
of them. Yeah, West Virginia. And these cannibals,
yeah.
Matt, it's actually an entire community. It's not only those three guys. No? Those three guys in the first movie, they are the ones that basically hunt down and provide the food for the others.
Okay.
No?
Okay. Okay.
But I can't remember everything, no? But I think Three Fingers is in a lot of the movies, that character. He stays in the
Okay.
movies.
That
No?
makes sense because he's a crowd favorite.
Or
He's a crowd favorite. Yeah.
yeah, or there is at least a character that very strongly resembles him. No, but it's never said. And also it's not the
Okay.
same actor playing the role. No? But in the second part, the sequel, no, it's okay. It's kind of like, but it's different than the first one because there's like this uh there's this a TV studio, no, that is trying to do a kind of Big Brother show out in the woods, no, and they decide to do it out in these specific woods where these three guys are, no, but just a little bit further away,
Okay.
no. And in the second part, it's
Okay.
not specifically Three Fingers and his brothers. It is some of their relatives, some other group they know, not like some sick family. But the thing is, throughout the entire Wrong Turn franchise, all of these cannibals, that's an entire community, man. That is often why a lot of these murders don't come out, no? Because
Okay.
there's like
Okay.
multiple small towns, West Virginia left out, no? That is explained in the second part, no? Um, and
Okay.
these people have formed their own community of extreme cannibals, no? And that's basically the Wrong Turn franchise. Like
Okay.
you have like they are different stories of different people that come into this woods, and somewhere or some of these cannibal things they get massacred. And I'm not sure, but I think that Three Fingers appears in a lot of the movies, or it's just a character that resembles him. Because I also I can't remember the name Three Fingers ever being thrown around in the Wrong Turn franchise.
No, it wasn't. I mean, like I said, when I did the research for the movie, they never put it anywhere. Like you actually have to go to the Wikipedia page to figure out these guys' names.
Yeah,
So they actually have names, but it's probably names that were used by the crew for the characters
yeah, it was
because they never
probably
say
the
it in the
script,
movie.
of course. No, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Um.
also guess so.
So
No, that was of course just in the script. But I mean, how should I say it? It's one of those things. Wrong. The first one was I love it. I love it. No,
but yeah, dude, this is a great film. Great film.
and the
Love it.
second one I would say was good. It wasn't like a fantastic, great movie, but it's
Yeah.
good. Wrong Turn 2 is actually quite decent. No,
Okay. Okay.
and everything
I'll have
after
to watch it
that,
then. Maybe we can do
I
it on
don't
another
know.
podcast.
What? What?
Maybe we can do it on another podcast
Yeah, we can do we,
episode.
we can do the other sequel sometime. Because it's just like I don't I think I would really have to rewatch the sequels, because the other one I think is Wrong Turn 3. It's basically about a group of criminals and cops that somehow get lost in these woods, no? And then they come across a money truck, no? And one of these criminals has a gun and he forces the others to carry the money for him, of course, no? And then they have that thing going on with these
Yeah.
cannibals. And even though these cannibals are trying to kill the other guy's
Okay.
like, fuck the money. He's like, no, you're carrying my money instead. And then I'm not sure which one, I think Wrong Turn 6 it was, where they really get into the explanation of a lot of these cannibal things, because there's also an asylum where multiple of these cannibal things were treated or whatever, and
Okay.
it gets pretty sick towards the
Interesting.
end because
They took it
in
to
this
absurd
asylum
levels.
there's what? What?
They took it to absurd levels with the sequels, apparently.
Well, absurd, yeah, but I mean, the last movie I remember seeing has something to do with an asylum, and this community, however, nah, because they had this inbreeding thing going on, they had also a specific ritual, no, where you have like multiple
Okay.
of these fucking redneck, inbreeds, nah, sitting up, and they have like another a chair where a woman can lay there, her legs spreaded, and one guy would bang a chick, and the others would be standing up there cheering him on.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean,
Okay.
I,
Wow.
I'm
All right. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's wrong turn 5 or 6, but I was watching that with one of my with one of my ex girlfriends. We were both sitting there like, holy fucking shit. I mean, we were speechless. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch the sequels now, dude. We're gonna have to do these because this sounds fucking ridiculous.
It is. It gets ridiculous. I mean, it gets super fucking ridiculous.
Okay. I wanted to say, I don't know how many European listeners we have, or how many people are just stateside because this whole thing's in English, but I kind of grew up in Alabama, and people make fun of Alabama because it's full of rednecks and stuff, but we
Yeah.
don't get near as many jokes as people from West Virginia. Everybody in the States has a West Virginia joke or something about West Virginia because I always thought it was a stereotype, that place was kind of as fucked up as it was, but it's not. There's whole documentaries about West Virginia that you can watch now on YouTube. There was a huge mining community in that entire state, and then mining basically went down. People weren't, into mining as much for whatever reason. There's an economical reason for it. I can't remember what it was, but that shut down almost all the mines in West Virginia, and West Virginia was made up of mine workers, right? And so what happened when the mines got shut down is you have all these people that live in the state that is just woods, and they don't have anywhere else to go. And so what a lot of them did was retreat from the towns, move back into the woods, and then have families. And this happened back in like the 50s. So West Virginia is where a lot of films are filmed that have to do with the apocalypse because there are so many towns that have been taken back over by the woods. And the weird thing is, when the people left, they left the town generator on. So, like the transformers and all the power, they left it on, and people took cables to the power plant and ran the cables all the way back into the woods. So, what you have is an entire state where there are some cities, but for the most part, everybody lives in the woods, and they're really fucking weird, right? And I know this is true because when I was in U.S. Army NATO Brigade in Germany, the S1 clerk for that battalion was from West Virginia, and she was from West Virginia. She, a very pretty girl. Like, I'm not gonna say her name. Very pretty girl. Very smart. But this girl could outrun every fucking guy. She knew how to fire every single weapon. She cleaned weapons from the arms room for free because she enjoyed doing it so much. She was one of the best outdoorsmen I have ever met in my life, and I admired her for this because she was amazing. She was a great soldier. And I asked her, we got to be friends, and I was like, "So all this stuff about West Virginia, is this true? Like, did people flee back into the woods, and there's whole families and generations of people that are just like woods dwellers and stuff?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, you're looking at one of them." Like, she grew up back in the woods with no power, learning how to hunt off the land, learning how to do all of that. And uh it's not a stereotype for no reason, man. Like, there's a lot of that shit going on down there. Just
Yeah,
wanted
but
to throw that
but
out
but
there.
but I do not believe that they're inbred cannibals.
Dude, of course
That
there are.
part, no.
Of course there are. Are you kidding me? Like,
Huh?
look at the population. Look at the population of that state. I like, if we could do this in real time, I'd love to
Huh?
do it. But if you go look at the population of the state that they know that the population is, and then look at the population of the state that is actually registered, like on the books, the on the books people make up about 32% of the actual population of the state, which means everybody else is back in the fucking woods doing whatever the hell they want to do. There is a shitload of inbreeding going on there. A shitload.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know if
inbred.
they're cannibals,
Yeah.
but there's a shitload of inbreeding going on. Anyway, uh, anything else you want to say about this movie, or um,
No, I
anything?
mean, I think we pretty much got it done. No.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
What time's our band call?
Well, I'm not sure if it's going to happen because the other guys say Stefan says I asked for 9 p.m. No. and they said it's a little bit too late. Nah, Mishal just posted. Nah, yeah, Mishal says he has quite enough today, so maybe we're
Okay.
just gonna have it cancel it today.
Okay. Either
Yeah,
way, if
yeah,
we don't, I'm gonna go walk some dogs so that I can be in time for it if it does happen.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and
I mean, are you still recording, Matt?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, people hear us talk shit all the time in this thing, so I'm just gonna leave it running, dude. I'm
I mean,
not
I mean,
reason to kill it just yet.
huh?
Uh, yeah, Mike, don't talk about the corpses in your basement right now because I'm still.
Okay, I won't talk about them. No. The corpse
Do
is
we
in
know
my
what movie
the
do
corpse
we
is
know
in
what
my
movie we're doing
basement.
next? Huh?
The next one we have on our plan is The Hills Have Eyes. What is a
Okay.
very similar movie. No.
Yes, it is very similar. I remember we were talking about this earlier that we wanted to do the two back to back because they were so similar. But we're doing the remake, right?
The original. The original. I mean, we haven't said if we're
The
doing the
original.
original or the remake. I think we said the original, but we can also do the remake.
Okay. Okay.
But then let's just stick with the original. I would say.
Okay. The reason I was asking is because the original is not the first one I saw. I actually saw the remake first, and I thought the remake was a really fucking good movie. Like,
Then I just say then let's just do the remake. No, because the remake was also the first one I saw. No.
well, okay, okay, but the original is also a fucking fantastic movie. But
Okay,
let's
well, I think we'll
let's do the
we'll
remake.
discuss what one we are going to do, the original or the remake.
Okay,
No.
we'll figure it out. So
Yeah.
tune in next week for the
Yeah.
surprise to find out which one of these films we're gonna do, original or remake.
Yeah.
And that's all I got, dude. So make sure you go and check out our podcast on YouTube too, because besides Spotify, it's on YouTube, and it always comes out a day after the one does on Spotify. And drop
Yeah,
us a
just
like
like
and a follow if you like what we do. Write us back on the Facebook page. We have a shitload of members, dude. Like the
yeah,
numbers
for
keep
we
getting higher of people that are interested in the
yeah, I
podcast.
mean
That makes me
Facebook.
really happy. So
Yeah, we're happy. Of course, people. I mean, I was when we started the podcast, Matt. I wasn't sure if we would have any listeners, but I mean, YouTube is going quite well. Spotify, Facebook. I mean, of course, we have basically not much followers, but for a podcast that's just started, it's going quite fine.
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
actually
we just
happy that
started.
people
We're
are.
only on. This is episode 8, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
episode 8. Yes, yes,
not doing
and
too
yeah,
bad. Not
yeah,
doing too bad.
yeah.
But yeah, like I said, if we do really well, that would be great. And it always makes us look for new material and stuff. But even if we didn't, I would do this because it's fucking fun. So whatever. Anyway, so until next time, guys. I'm Matt.
Yeah. I'm Mike. No? See you next time.
See you next episode.